USC and UCLA battled today not just for supremacy of Los Angeles, but to remind the national press that the Pac-12 conference is still here. Come on, fat writers from across the nation, shake yourselves. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for Southern California / Los Angeles sports. Welcome to Faithful Angelinos. Now, if you've enjoyed the content that we've been putting out for the last couple of weeks, feel free to clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's also a notification bell that you can see on YouTube. Click that. It'll remind you of the newest video that gets dropped. We're going to try and drop one at about somewhere in the 9 o'clock West Coast hour every day. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist on your social media feeds. And comment. I'm not God. I'm not right about everything. Feel free to let me know what's going on. Today is March 5th, 2022. What can I tell you? Last night, the Los Angeles Kings rallied. From 2 goals down, they defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-3 in overtime. Victor Arvidsson with a hat trick for the mighty LA Kings. Meanwhile, tonight, the Golden State Warriors will be in LA. They take on the Lakers on a game at ABC that you probably should miss. It's at 5:30. You won't even have enough alcohol by then to try and drown your misery over the way the Lakers have been playing. Meanwhile, I can also tell you that the LA Galaxy is playing Charlotte. Charlotte FC, their first home match in MLS. That game's going to be on Fox at 4:30. The very first home game for Charlotte. 75,000 people are expected to jam Bank of America Stadium. And of course, USC versus UCLA, that's 8 p.m. on ESPN. So before we get to the main topic, news and notes from across Los Angeles, Sean McVay says the Rams definitely want Odell Beckham Jr. back. No kidding. I wish my wife was standing behind the camera pouring baby oil down the front of her blouse. What are we talking about here? Dodgers owner Todd Boehly, and I have no idea if I pronounced his name correctly because the only Dodger owner that goes to the press is Magic. But this silent Dodgers owner is expected to put in a bid for Premier League team Chelsea. Now, you know how everybody is trying to get the Russians to divest and lose money by selling all of their property because, well, you've seen the news. Yeah, Chelsea is run by a Russian, Roman Abramovich, so he has been pressured into selling his team. Meanwhile, Woj, ESPN, Adrian Wojnarowski, and I know I mispronounced it probably, said, quote, the Lakers would like to get through the rest of the season with Frank Vogel as coach. Because if we have to watch that slop, so do you, pal. I'm sorry, I like you. I even liked you when you coached at Orlando. But you're making us watch it, you gotta be there. Nobody gets off easy from this. And when I mean nobody's gonna get away from this without having to hear the face of music, oh yes, the old school Lakers are coming out saying how much they don't like the way this team is playing. James Worthy says he's, quote, embarrassed. Shaq, not happy either. There's others that are going to come crawling out of the woodwork, folks. The Lakers are one of those old school teams. Those players will step up and tell them what's what. Quick Galaxy preview. Again, playing at 4:30 tonight on Fox. Charlotte's home debut is going to include striker Karol Swiderski. They didn't have him last week in their franchise debut. So they built a little bit of offense, but they didn't have a quality striker. Boom. Shutout. That's the guy the Galaxy have to key on in order to make that shutout streak go 2 in a row. Galaxy, by the way, they posted a clean sheet against NYCFC last week. So let's move on to the big topic of the day. Trojans, Bruins, senior day for UCLA at Pauley Pavilion. So let's take a look at where we are in the Pac-12, okay? The Pac-12 tournament starts next week after all, and the national press thinks the Pac-12 is overrated. And if you ask me, I think the reason they think they're overrated is specifically due to UCLA. Now, UCLA has not been having a bad season, okay? This is not to poke fun at the Bruins. That's not it. UCLA is 27-6. USC is 25-6, ranked 17th, 16th. They're both, they're both meh on the periphery. But the reason the Pac-12 doesn't get enough love, in my opinion, I think UCLA was forecast to win big. Just dominate, because Johnny Juzang led the Bruins to the Final Four last year. If you remember that tournament last year, he was averaging 20 points a game. Everything he touched was going through the net. And 17.7 points? Well, that's not bad. Not bad at all. You want that. But the rest of the Bruins, he hasn't opened up the game for the rest of UCLA. And I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm saying that they're expecting UCLA to at least have had 30 wins by now, and it didn't happen, and the national press is overreacting, in my opinion. So let's talk about where UCLA is at the moment. I think the reason that people have soured, the national press has soured on UCLA, is USC. I really do. I think, look, USC is not a bad basketball team by any stretch. We'll get into why they're not bad and why they could make a run in the playoffs in just a moment. But USC poses specific matchup problems for the way UCLA plays basketball. It is a problem because this is Mick Cronin's third year running the Bruins, right? I mentioned Juzang, guard. They are a guard-heavy offense. And even though they are guard-heavy, they don't like to fast break. They don't like to run. So they just set up their half-court offense. The problem with doing that is when you set up your half-court offense, you allow USC to set up its half-court defense. USC comes out with 4 starters that are at least 6'7". That is like trying to penetrate the lane with that defense is like weaving your way through a forest. It's just limbs and height. It's not an easy task. That is one of the primary ways that USC wins basketball games. Because you can beat them with threes from the outside. They're terrible on three-point defense, but anywhere else, they got you. They got you pinned. Mick Cronin has been, he's been pretty solid for UCLA, but he hasn't even beaten USC yet. He's 0-5, and I think that's a major part of the reason why their offense does not match up well with USC's defense. Also, the national press has said, well, maybe we gave Juzang too much credit for coming back, even when he could have gone to the NBA after that amazing playoff run last year. Because after all, Michigan State almost took him out in overtime in the first 4. And 2 other teams almost knocked him out going along the way. They're not a bad team. I think they can run, or make a run, I should say, in the playoffs. I just think against USC, USC poses problems. So let's talk for a moment about USC. We mentioned earlier the height on defense. I got to tell you, everybody thought they were going to take a step back when Evan Mobley left for the NBA. You got to give some respect to Isaiah Mobley as a replacement. He's been terrific. He's averaged 14.4 points a game and 8.5 rebounds. Now, he may not make the impact in the NBA that his brother is making, but having said that, he clearly wants to make a statement that he should be considered as a draft pick. The Trojans on offense run a pick and roll, and you've got to give Coach Andy Enfield credit. You really do. Because he managed to poach a guard, Boogie Ellis, from Memphis. Penny Hardaway has to be kicking himself every single time he watches Boogie Ellis play. Memphis is a bubble team for the NCAA tournament. The Trojans, they're going in. They're good. They're 25-6. Boogie Ellis, he plays good defense. Boogie Ellis knows how to run the pick and roll, and he definitely knows how to shoot from the outside, which is, of course, part of the pick and roll. If the guy that you're running the pick with doesn't get open, you take the open shot, and he's good at it. Just a terrific little guard. I shouldn't say little. The Trojans are tall. I only know of one guy who gave USC a shot of being competitive in the Pac-12 after Evan Mobley left. USC has been the feel-good story of the Pac-12. And as a consequence of that, the national press is not giving him any credit. This is going to be a terrific game to watch. USC theoretically should be the favorite. They're deeper. They're definitely taller. So they're definitely going to get more rebounds. But that Achilles heel, 3-point defense, that's where Juzang and the rest of the Bruins have to make their money tonight. This is a game you are going to want to watch later tonight. Now, which team could make a run in the NCAA tournament? No idea. No idea. I could see the Trojans' height making an impact. I can see Juzang going nuts all over again because Juzang's draft stock dropped this year. Yeah, I've seen him go anywhere late first round to mid second round, all because of the fact that he didn't build off of that amazing run. So this game, crack open a beer, folks. You thought USC UCLA was a football rivalry. Oh, no. Not yet. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm James. Thanks for watching. We're going to see you tomorrow. Faithful Angelinos is a Quien Corta El Queso production. Let's go have some fun today. I'm James.